So today I wanted to sit down and explain to you absolutely everything it took for us to purchase our Langley, Oklahoma self-storage facility. We're going to be covering things like where we found the deal, how much the deal cost, what it cost to actually rehab the entire facility and get it up and running, and to include, paint, dumpster runs, software, Google My Business, all of that. So stay tuned to the very, very end because I've got a secret tip. Actually, I don't have a secret tip. Just this is how I did it, and I wanted to share absolutely everything in regards to what it took for us to purchase the storage facility.
The prettiest thing I ever saw. A red bird on a fallen log. In the mountains, in the evening, in the fall. I'm going to Arkansas.
So where we found this deal, okay, I had been searching the internet, okay? We had been checking things like Crexy, LoopNet, CoStar. We've been checking Realtor.com, Zillow.com. We've been checking the Facebook groups for self-storage deals. And I even went as far as just started calling self-storage facilities after we sold one of our single-family residences. We were going to take that money that we made from our single-family residence and turn that into hopefully more self-storage properties. And I came across the Langley deal via Facebook. Now, one of the hacks or tips that I always recommend anyone that wants to get into the space is you start telling people that you want to buy self-storage. Post it on your social media. Talk about it with your friends because you never know who's sitting there willing to discuss or willing to know someone that maybe has a deal. And sure enough, I got this deal from my buddy Corey, who actually sent it to me, and he's like, hey, I found this on this self-storage Facebook group that they sell properties. Take a look at it. And sure enough, as ballsy as I am, I decided to call the person who was listed on it. And sure enough, that's how we discovered it. I went ahead a step further. Before I put it under contract, I actually flew to Arkansas and did a little road trip where I went and saw 4 different facilities, which included the one that we eventually purchased. So after the due diligence period, we didn't deal with any realtors, so we're not gonna have any realtor fees. I dealt directly with the seller. I was the buyer, he was the seller, and we negotiated essentially over the phone, through email, through text, that kind of thing. It was listed at like $60-some thousand with a local realtor. It was completely neglected. The building itself was chipping away paint. At one point in time, there was this giant vine bush growing up the side of it. The Google Earth pictures did not look good. It needed some love. But when I went ahead and actually inspected the property, inspected the area around it, and did our due diligence for the Langley property, I discovered that everything was functional. So when I'm talking about like everything was functional, there were no holes in the building. There were no holes in the roof. It didn't leak. All the doors worked. Sure, there was some trash and debris and some tenants that did not pay, just left their crap there and expected the owner to clean it up for them. But everything was there. The one unique thing about this particular property is there's no utilities. So there's no power and there's no water. So it was something that we didn't have to inspect, and I didn't have to worry about hiring an electrician and inspecting all that. So it was all there. The property itself sat and was ready to be rehabbed, but it only needed what I call lipstick. You put some lipstick on a pig and it just brightens it up. And it doesn't take a whole lot of effort, but it doesn't take a whole lot of capital to bring that business or that building back to life. And that's what we discovered. So we negotiated the price that it was listed at. I believe it was $69,000 through the local realtor. I chose to work directly with the seller, and we agreed upon a purchase price of $40,000. Now, at the time of closing, we split up the closing costs. So the total all-in cost for this particular property as it sat with 4 tenants or 4 storage units rented, it ended up being $41,342 out of our pocket sent to the seller. And that included like things like title insurance, and we hired a title company to go through the whole process to essentially purchase that facility. Now, there was a lot next door to it that was not necessarily for sale, but I ended up contacting the owner and we agreed upon selling that property too. So we actually acquired an additional lot to hopefully in the future expand. And that lot itself, it cost us $5,000. I agreed upon paying all the closing costs. So it came out to $6,780.65 for a total of 47, I don't know. I'll do the math and I'll put it on the screen. Actually, let's do the math right here. Let's do it all. Okay, let's just do a running total. One of my favorite apps on my iPhone is the calculator app. If you're not messing with this thing every single day, you're not an investor. All right, so purchase price all out the door, $41,342 plus the lot purchase of $6,780.65. I don't know why they charged me 65 cents. We added insurance on the property, which was $100. We had to get a business license. Oops. $100 plus $25 for the business license. And that was it. We were in business. So a total all-in cost of $48,247.65, and we were in business. Now, that did not include the rehab costs. That was something that, was going to cost additionally. The fortunate thing is we drug our RV out there, so we actually stayed on property. When we started working on the property, we kind of ran into some weather issues, tornado warnings. We had lots of rain, and we spent most of that time, doing the things that we needed to do. So, for example, we had to clean out, I think it was 3 units. What we ended up doing was we put those units on Facebook. They're abandoned units, and there was no records. They hadn't rented a unit for years. And what we did was we put those units on Facebook Marketplace and said, hey, if you want this stuff, come and get it. And we had 3 total people come and clean out every single unit, which was amazing. They did it for absolutely free. I think I paid them a few bucks to, with gas money and that kind of thing. But they essentially took the stuff and flipped it. And what they didn't want, they hauled it to the dump. So a cost that was we were going to look at about $400 or $500 to rent one of those big dumpsters. It absolutely cost us $0. All we had to do was take some photographs, put it on Facebook Marketplace, and these people came and got it, which was amazing. So in order to clean up the business itself, it cost us 0 money. Now the painting supplies and the rehab materials cost us, I believe it was around $400 or $500 for the actual paint itself, and some tools, primer, some chemicals to actually wash the building, and I believe it was around $500. Now, I'm already an existing customer for Easy Storage Solutions with one of our other storage facilities, and that includes like the payment processing, the website, and also the portal and the mapping system for tenants to be able to rent storage units online, or you can do it over the phone. But also it gives you like the map feature, but it also allows you to keep all those records. So that initial cost was $225 initially. I negotiated that price down. They wanted to charge me like $500 or something. I'm like, hey, I'm already an existing customer. I already know how to do all this stuff. So it ended up costing us it was $225.45. I purchased the web domain for 3 years, which cost us $41.78. And then we went ahead and purchased things like, disc locks. So we're going to give each and every one of our new tenants a free disc lock. That's something that we like to provide. It gets people, it's one of those things that, it's $10 at the end of the day per lock. But I found that most people don't have a lock, and they really don't have a lock that's sufficient for the security purpose for that particular, type locking mechanism on that storage unit. So we like to provide them with a secure feature and also give them a free lock. So that's one of the things that we did. And then we added, some sheet metal. We added some sheet metal to some of the interior units to help secure each and individual unit. That ended up costing us $68. So in reality, we were all in for about $50,000. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video was I wanted to show you the potential revenue. So the idea of taking, $50,000 and investing it into a multifamily type property, that's pretty typical. I mean, if you're going to put down, 20, 25% on a, $250,000, $300,000 house, your returns could be, they could be $100, they could be $1,000, they could be $1,500. I don't know, depending on what your market looks like. But I recognize that the self-storage building itself, we knew that if we purchased the land next door, we could eventually add on. So we can increase the amount of units in the future, which I really like that upside. It might cost us anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 to add an additional 12 to 36 units, just depending on, what the market is demanding. If they're demanding a lot of, 5x5s, or are they demanding 5x10s or 10x10s or 10x20s or 10x30s? The market's going to predict that. We're going to be able to take some, really good notes on the customers that we're going to be obtaining here in the future, and we're going to learn a lot about that. Our storage facility in Georgia, we recognize that the 10x12 unit was the most popular, but occasionally about 22% of people were looking for a larger unit. Surprisingly, the 5x10s are not real popular. For whatever reason, we have a handful of them, and I actually turned a couple of them into a 10x10 unit just because not a lot of people want those. They would rather spend $10, $15, $20 more a month and just get a little bit larger unit and be able to organize it in a way that isn't cumbersome. A 10x12 unit is really, you can actually walk inside the unit and kind of manipulate the things that you need to inside your storage unit. So it's something that we're going to have to look at here in the future. I also wanted to cover our potential revenue. Currently, we're bringing in $150. We have 3 tenants paying $50 for 10x24 foot units. Those are our largest units, and they're paying the least amount. At some point in time, I'm sure the rent will go up and/or they'll move out, and we'll adjust their rent accordingly. Right now, we have a total of 21 units. We have 8 6x10s, and then we have in the remaining units. So what is that? 21 minus 8 is 13. We have 13 10x12 units that will rent out for $75 to $95 a month with no fees, security, contracts, cleaning fees, taxes, or anything like that. So our potential revenue is anywhere from like $500 to $1,800 realistically, and that's before we add on any more units. It's one of those things that when you're getting into self-storage, most big-time investors will look at this deal and go, it's a waste of time. For us, we looked at it as an opportunity to pay cash for a facility that has the potential of making more revenue with less risk, paying cash instead of financing a larger unit. We could have taken $50,000 and bought a $200,000 facility that might have been double the size, but then I would have to worry about the actual, monthly payment for the next 20, 25, 27, 30 years. And I didn't really want to do that. Plus, I really like the idea of being able to add on at the customer's needs. And that lot gives us that freedom and that ability. So that's the entire breakdown of our storage facility purchase. I know I promised daily vlogs, but this one was more of a sit down, especially with the headache that we've had to deal with here in the last 2 days. In regards to our mobile home or our RV, recreational vehicle, trailer, what do you want to call it, is not available at this time. We're currently staying with family, so I thought this was a good opportunity to sit down, have a chat, and give you all the numbers in regards to the purchase price and what it costs to rehab the facility and get it up and running and make it operational. So it's one of those projects that we're really proud of. I'm really proud of my son Chase, my wife Caitlin. They worked their ass off, and it was a good opportunity to see, a good life lesson for our son, to see what kind of work it takes to bring a business back to life. And I think that was one of the benefits. You can't measure that ROI, but I'm assuming 10, 15, 20 years from now, you're really going to be able to measure that ROI with his work ethic and his ability to analyze a property and invest, in a way that is a little less risky if you're going out there to do it your very first time. So if this video helped you at all, consider subscribing. If you have any questions, comments, I will leave my email down below. If you want my entire list on how I go about doing due diligence on self-storage facilities, again, reach out to me on email and I can send you all my documents that I use to search down and investigate these facilities to try and make an informed decision and make, risking, your hard-earned cash and put it to work for you. Make, your money work for you. And that's what I love about self-storage. So again, if you need any help, comments, questions, I'll leave my email below. Reach out to me. I'm available most days, but don't hesitate. Don't hesitate to hit subscribe. So until tomorrow, which I'll be bringing a full live daily vlog of what we're up to, updates on our RV, updates on the new storage facility that we're trying to obtain, which I could go into those numbers also, but also the ability to conquer what we want to conquer. And it's building a cash flowing machine business so that we can go out and enjoy our lives in the way we like to do it with many adventures. So till tomorrow, appreciate it. We'll talk to you. Cheers.